Hi and welcome. I'm Mary Jo, also known as Sojo, and this is part 8 of my completed quilts trunk show. So this first quilt, which is number 71, is an all batik quilt that was made from 2.5-inch strips. Now I don't know the name of the pattern. I know the pattern came with the pack of 2.5 strips, but I couldn't find the pattern. Now, it was quilted with what I believe was my popcorn pantograph on the long arm. So we'll flip it over and take a look at the back. And this is the back of that quilt. And according to the label, it was completed in 2019. This is number 72. Now this was a sew sampler quilt, and the name of the quilt was Apple Crisp, and it was quilted on the long arm with a pantograph that has like apples and apple blossoms in it. We'll flip it over and take a look at the back. Now this is the back of that quilt, and it was completed in 2019. Number 72. Now this was a Missouri Star tutorial, and the name of this was Spice Rack, and it used a charm pack and some yardage. It was quilted with Minky on the back, and it was quilted with a pantograph called Petalism. We'll flip it over and take a look at the back. And there is the back, and it was also completed in 2019. Again, a lot of my quilts were completed in 2019. I did a lot that year. Now this is number 74. Now this is actually from a long arm class that I had attended with my mother on my 40th birthday. And so this was the quilt sandwich that we worked on and practicing and doing different things. So then when I came home, I just put a binding in it and called it a quilt. There's no need to flip over the back because the front and the back are the same. Now 75. This is from Eleanor Burns' book, Day and Night Quilt by Quilt in a Day. Now, it was also quilted with a dragonfly pantograph, and the next two quilts after this one are made from the scraps that were left over from creating this quilt. But we'll flip it over and take a look at the back of number 75. And there is the back of number 75, and according to the label, I finished it in 2019. Now, we'll take a look at the two quilts I made from the scraps. Now this is number 76, and this is the spiderweb quilt from Eleanor Burns' Day and Night book. Again, it was just made from the scraps from the quilt from 75. Now it's also quilted with that dragonfly pantograph, and we'll flip it over and take a look at the back. And that's just a look at the back, and again, it was made in 2019. Now this is number 76, and this is the mini star quilt from the Day and the Night book by Eleanor Burns. Now I did add some extra squares in this between those mini star blocks just to make it a little bit bigger. And then those middle blocks were all made from the scraps, which I then added the borders. It was also quilted with that dragonfly pantograph, but we'll flip it over and take a look at the back. And there's a look at the back, and again, it was quilted with also that dragonfly pantograph. They all had the same backing on them. Now this is number 78, and this quilt pattern was the Three Dudes quilt from Man Sewing and Missouri Star. And it was quilted with a paisley pantograph. Now there's a lot of blue quilts in this. That is my favorite color. And this is a look at the back with that paisley pantograph. And according to the label, it was completed just last year in 2022. Now this is number 79. Now this is an all flannel quilt. The backing is flannel too. Now I do not remember where this pattern came from, but I do know it was quilted on the long arm. Now this is the backing. So when I quilted this, I didn't have enough flannel for either one, so I made it 2 different colors. Now I don't have a label to tell exactly when I finished this, but I do know this was one of the first quilts that I'd done in the long arm. So the quilting isn't the greatest and it definitely needs some improvement. But there it is, number 79. So this is number 80. And the pattern was called Weaver Fever by Jackie Robinson. And I quilted this on the long arm with a ribbon and roses pantograph. We'll flip it over and take a look at the back. And this is just the back of that quilt. And it was also completed in 2019. Okay, so that brings us to the end of part 8 of my completed quilts trunk show. But don't worry, I know I still have about 10 more quilts to show of those in the house. Plus, I still have my Christmas quilts from the attic I need to show. And maybe I'll finish a few more quilts by then. So I still have a few more parts to go. Till next time, bye.